And we wanted to make sure that he heard it one last time because he is simply the best. Please help me welcome to the podium, Pascual Gonzalez.
I know you've heard that song about 100 times, especially at our Educator of the Year celebrations, which are pretty amazing. Probably one of the best special events in our district. I mean, it's a huge celebration. I appreciate so much all of this, in spite of my resistance to it. It's pretty amazing. It's very overwhelming, actually. And to have, 3 superintendents that I work for say nice remarks is really cool. I actually worked for 5 different superintendents and over the course of my career. And I got to share with you something that I've always told my staff, that I am only as successful as they are. And so my job with my communication staff was to give them every tool, every guidance, everything that they needed so that they would be successful, which in turn makes Northside School District successful. And I've had some really fine people go through the Northside Communications Department and have landed in really neat jobs around the state. And I've also got just a crackerjack crew presently in the department. I would like, if you are on my staff or if you worked on the Communications Department staff in the past, would you please stand? Thank you. And they know how much I respect them, how much I admire them, how much I know. They know how much that they mean to me. And they're just workhorses. They believe in Northside, they believe in the power of education, they believe in communication, and they do it so well. NISD TV is incredible. Our special events are through the roof. Our printed publications, our website, everything that we do is done so well, and these very, very talented people are the ones that do that. But I'll tell you, all of this stems from the very top. And by that I mean by the culture set by our Board of Trustees and by our superintendents. They're good people, they're honest people, they're people with the highest integrity. They allow us to do the work that we do. And they give us the guidance, they give us the support that we need to do what we do. And that's really, really special. I don't know that every school district has that kind of leadership, that kind of integrity, that kind of support from the very top, because they allow us to do what we do, and they give us the flexibility to do what we do well, and I'm really, really proud about that. I have to tell you that I arrived in Northside School District in 1976, a poor man, leaving Houston, Texas with no money in his pocket, but my dad at the time, my dad has passed away, but he was friends with Ed Villarreal Elementary School. And so he said, come to San Antonio. I said, I want out of Houston. I need to get to San Antonio and get closer to Laredo, which is my home. And so he put me in touch with Ed Villarreal, who put me in touch with Carlos Ortiz. And Mr. Ortiz, are you around? You were here earlier. There you are. Mr. Ortiz was the HR superintendent like 100 years ago. And so I came to interview with Mr. Ortiz because Mr. Villarreal sent me over there, and I had, no clue. I was, 20-something years old. So I came in, and Mr. Ortiz was very gracious. We interviewed, and later on he offered me a job teaching at Jones Middle School. But I was amazed because every new hire that he had was on a yellow pad with a pencil. That was how he kept track of who he was hiring. And Mr. Ortiz, just last week, I think they hired close to 800 teachers in the school district. So it's really come a long way. But I'll never forget how nice and how gracious and how kind he was to somebody that was clueless. I'm not kidding. So I arrived at Jones Middle School and taught English and journalism, and I went to Hobby, and I went to Holmes High School. And then this wonderful woman named Bonnie Ellison called me. Is Bonnie here? Where? She was? Bonnie Ellison was the Office of Public Information Director at the time. She called me and she said, I need a writer photographer. I said, oh, I can do that. So I came to central office, and I think Mr. Jordan was the superintendent at the time, maybe Mr. Cody, I don't recall now. And so she hired me as a writer photographer, and the position evolved and it grew, and we grew, Northside grew, and I mean all kinds of things happened. And I spent 10 years there with Bonnie as my mentor. She was the rock star in school PR of her generation. And so I learned a lot from her, but then I was ready to kind of spread my wings a little bit. So I left there and went to the instructional division and worked for Pat Blackman, Ed Rawlinson, Win Mernon, those folks. And I learned a lot, and I learned the C&I side of Northside ISD. And I think that's what really helps me do my job well, is that I know the instructional side of this job. And that's really kind of cool. Then they gave me textbooks. That was not fun. And I know all you principals here, you came through the ranks and you did textbooks at your schools, right? The new man, the low guy on the totem pole gets textbooks. And I thought, oh my God, this is like the worst job in the world. And so I did textbooks, and we created an ISD TV, and that was a lot of fun. And then I was tapped by Mr. Rawlinson to lead the technology department, and I thought, oh my goodness, what is a server? But what he needed from me was really to bring two big departments together. And luckily, he saw the skills in me, he saw the confidence in me to do that, and I was able to pull IT together and instructional technology together, and we have one of the top tech services departments around now, and that was where it started, was through his own vision of bringing these departments together that had never really worked together. There was IT and there was instructional technology, two very different animals. So did that for, 10 years, and then there was an opening in the communications department in 1998, and I thought, that's where I want to be. So came back. I came back to communications department. The director, Larry Meyer at the time, was leaving town with his wife to go up north, and I just slipped right in, and I've been at home ever since, and I'm so happy that I have been able to serve this district, been able to serve all of you in this capacity, because it has been the joy of my life. It's truly been a blessing to be associated with all these good folks, these PR pros, and certainly all of the folks in Northside ISD. There are my colleagues from other school districts here today. Thank you all for coming. That's really, really special to see you all here. And we have a pretty tight-knit SASPR group, San Antonio Area School PR Association, and we kind of hang together and we talk about the media and other folks. Not you. The other ones. But we get together, commiserate, and really have a good time and support each other in the public relations field. But I'll tell you my greatest joy, and I'm so glad that Dr. Woods was asked to say something. My greatest joy was working with our principals. I feel that truly is one of my high points, is I was able to share with principals and provide guidance, learn from them that I could share with other people. My phone never stops ringing. I have 3 phones in my office, and they were always ringing, and every time it was a principal, I would give them my undivided attention, because I knew that they needed something from me, and hopefully I provided that. My very first job My very first day on the job as Executive Director of Communications in Northside was a terrible day. Because on that day, one of our high school students who was skipping school was driving fast around a road on Heath Circle and crashed into a bus and was killed. That was my very first day on the job. And so I had to drive out to Heath Circle and do media work out there. It was probably one of the worst days of my life, but talk about on-the-job training. It worked, and I grew to the occasion, and I was really happy that I was able to provide at least the school district response to such a tragedy. On the high side, bond issues. Oh my goodness. You know, we would not be where we are, we would not have the schools that we have, we would not have the classrooms that we have if it wasn't for the community trusting and believing in us and knowing that we have integrity and that we tell the truth. And that was always a hallmark of everything that I did every single day of my work life. I want to introduce two members of my family that are here with me today. I have a huge family. There they are. And two folks were able to come up today, and that is my mother, Mrs. Imelda Gonzalez. Mom, if you would stand. Mom is our rock, as my dad passed away many years ago. And one of my many brothers, this is Cito, and I'm really glad that Cito was able to make it up here because the gentleman in the middle in the soldier uniform is his son. He was home from Afghanistan for this weekend, and so we pulled the entire family together and we took a family picture. And we were so blessed that Michael came back safe and sound, and now he's a deputy sheriff in Webb County. And we're all very, very proud of him, and we love him a lot. We pray for him every single day.
How nice.
Well, anyway, I really think that kind of wraps it up for me. You guys are the best. I will miss all of you. I truly will. I'm not leaving. I'm going to be in town. I'll be around. You know, eventually after I come out of my self-imposed hibernation, I'm hoping to teach part-time in junior college in the evenings. I'm going to give Mr. Rollinson some competition because I'm enrolling in culinary classes. And I told Dr. Woods the other day that one of my plans is also to write a book, and his jaw dropped. Because I shared with him that everything I've done over the last, since 1998 in this job has been documented in 3-ring binders, because that's the only way I could keep track of the incidents and the scenarios and the reports and the investigations, etc. And I said, I have lots of stories to tell. And he said, mention no names, no schools, make them up, but I promised I would never embarrass Northside School District. Thank you all so much for coming today. You mean the world to me, and I'm so happy to be with all of you, at least for another week or so, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, Monica.
And no, he does not really ride horses.